how you doing? I'm Mr. Crunchberry, and thank you for watching this video. Alright guys, so for this episode of Nerd News, why don't we start off with an article that basically asks the question, what do you get when you take an unemployed accountant who is also a Star Wars fan, and what does he do in his spare time when he's unemployed? News. Some dork nerds over at Centivs.net have actually done the math and figured out how much it would cost and how much metal it would actually take to create an actual version of the Death Star. Using measurements given by other nerds that are on different sites and stuff like that, using those measurements and also using actual footage from the movie to try to get a good idea as to actually how big this thing is or whatever, they estimated that it would take nearly 1,080,000,000,000,000,000 tons of steel to build this thing. Now here's the thing, I don't know if zillion is actually a unit of measurement. I know that it goes, tens, thousands, millions, billions, trillions, and then I've always thought that zillion was after the end of trillion, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm just going to say zillions or whatever. And then going on later into this article, they figured out, okay, so that's how much steel it would cost. Now, how much in actual dollars and actual money would it actually cost to build this thing? Well, based on their measurements, they believe that it would take approximately somewhere around $852 zillion to create a Death Star. To rough it down for you guys or whatever, that's 13,000 times the whole world's GDP. In other words, with a GDP, it means like everything that contains value. So you take everything that contains value in the entire world, and you would need to multiply that by 13,000 times in order to get enough money to build a Death Star. So to all those people who actually came up with the mathematical equation to come up with all of this and did all this research and everything like that, all I can say is, thank you for giving me a news article that I can definitely bring up to the water cooler, and good luck on your job search. Now moving on to, is the Xbox a gaming system, or is it something else? News. An article was posted on IGN a couple of days ago talking about the new Xbox 720 and some of the new features that they're hoping to bring into it in regards to video streaming, music, and all this other stuff that goes along with it. The main point of this article was to bring up the fact that Microsoft is actually spending a lot of time for both the Xbox 720 and the Xbox 360 right now. They're using a lot of resources and focusing a lot of their attention on, so far as video streaming, like the YouTube app, Netflix, Vudu, the UFC, ESPN, things along those lines or whatever. And they're just spending a lot of time on that, and that seems to be the main focus with them in regards to making the Xbox 720. I mean, heck, even in the article itself, it says, at this point in the console's life, Microsoft isn't concerned with games as much as broader entertainment. Rightfully so. More of us are using Xbox Live for entertainment. And then they follow up some more, is like, we're making our way to a place where the next Xbox won't be primarily a gaming machine. It will be an entertainment hub, a one-stop shop for everything you enjoy. And I'm not wanting to make any spoilers or anything like that, but guess how people reacted to this? I already have one of these. It's called a PC. I don't mind them improving the other entertainment features, but it's this line that worries me. Microsoft isn't concerned with games as much as broader entertainment. Adding/improving secondary features is one thing. Neglecting the primary feature to any extent is a problem. Pretty sad when gaming is the least important feature to console manufacturers. I don't mind it, but put it all in the back. I don't want to see it. I want to see my game and the settings. It is getting ridiculous. Agreed. If they want to add all of the other stuff for the casual audience, go for it. But games come first. And as the start of the article pointed out, the Games tab being the fourth listed on the Games console is messed up beyond words. That's why I love Nintendo. Yes, Nintendo boy, you just won right there. You won the contest that I am making up right now. I don't know what it's called yet, but you win. Yeah, that's the biggest concern right here, guys. Xbox blatantly said right there that it's like, oh, we're not so concerned about the games and everything. We're entertaining people with all the videos and the music, even though nobody in this earth uses Zune or anything else like that. It's like, we're giving you all this entertainment and everything else like that and everything else. Blah, 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 blah. Xbox, you are a gaming console. And frankly, hearing you say that, the gaming aspect of it or whatever isn't that big of a concern for you, it's a little disturbing, especially for people like myself who have religiously bought you and have endorsed you over the PS3. Now, that being said, though, despite all of that being said, though, I do have to agree with one of the comments that I actually saw in here. And that comment was, I don't have cable/satellite and refuse to shovel money over to Comcast. I actually use all of the features on the 360 and only pay for Netflix. Now, to be honest, I actually kind of have to agree with that guy as well. Granted, I don't like what Microsoft is saying about the Xbox, about their main concern not being gaming, but you really got to think about it. If you needed a cable provider for your Xbox Live, if you needed a cable provider for that and your internet and things like that, and you didn't buy the extra $60 needed for cable, if you didn't do that and you only had Netflix and the internet for your gaming console, and then you just got the local channels and stuff like that, I'm not gonna lie, later on down the road, I could see myself going that route. I would much rather pay the $60 once a year for Xbox Live than being able to play with all of my friends, with all these other games and stuff like that, have access to the Xbox Live Arcade, which is just crawling with amazing games right now. I mean, seriously, you guys gotta check this place out. And if that allows me to go on Netflix, maybe check out some games on ESPN or things along those lines, as opposed to shoveling over $60 to Comcast, an extra $60 over to Comcast for stuff that I don't even want to watch, seems like a fair trade to me. So Xbox, you know what? Thank you for giving us that option. It is actually kind of nice and everything like that, but don't fool yourselves. That's not your primary focus right here. If you do not start making good games again, if you actually, if I start seeing like all these good games coming out for the PlayStation and then all these good games coming out for Nintendo and everything like that, I'm not going to keep you for much longer. And now finally moving on to why the heck am I wearing a wrestling shirt? News. CM Punk has actually started to go on a Twitter war against Chris Brown. It all started last weekend when CM Punk went onto his Twitter account and actually wrote this little tweet. I don't use Twitter, so I'm not familiar with the lingo, but it's when he wrote this little tweet about Chris Brown saying, I would like Chris Brown to fight someone that can defend themselves. Me curb stomping that turd would be a WrestleMania moment. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the WWE, CM Punk has actually started this straight edge society. It's something that he did a couple of months ago. It's kind of fizzled out a little bit, but he's basically this advocate of this straight edge society, basically saying no drugs, no alcohol, no smoking, everything, just basically straight up, straight edge, all that kind of stuff like that. So, obviously CM Punk would have an issue with Chris Brown, him being the woman beater that he is with, the whole thing with Rihanna and everything. And then with Chris Brown then getting invited back over to the Grammys, to do, after he was doing collaborations with the girl that he sent to the hospital, Rihanna. So obviously, that's not going to sit very well, and I don't think it should sit very well for anybody, especially considering that when this whole thing was going on, Chris Brown didn't seem apologetic in any way, shape, or form, and he was just blowing off everybody who had a legitimate reason to be upset with him as, oh, you haters, you're just haters, you're not liking whatever I do, and whatever. So Chris Brown, being the kind of douchebag that he is or whatever, obviously had to send a tweet back to CM Punk saying it was like, oh, what the heck you're doing? You're taking steroids and blah, 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 which is a total slap in the face of CM Punk because, hello, straight edge society, no drugs or anything like that. Do your research, dude. So after Chris Brown accused CM Punk of using steroids, again, stupid move, man. CM Punk then made this YouTube video, basically a 2-minute video, basically calling out Chris Brown for the, woman-beating douchebag that he is by saying, I don't hit women. Period. You don't hit women in my world. Women are to be revered and respected, and I believe that in this life there are consequences and repercussions for people's actions, and I don't believe that Chris has paid for what he has done. Picking up trash on the side of the highway does not make amends for repeatedly striking a woman in the face and sending her to a hospital. So Chris wants to throw stones my way now, and I say that's fine. But put some gloves on and get in the ring. I will choke you out, and I will make you feel as weak and as powerless and scared and alone as any woman who has ever had the misfortune of knowing a sad, little, cowardly boy such as yourself. Do it! Do it! CM Punk, at the end of the video, then said that, of course, none of this is actually going to happen, though. Of course, Chris Brown isn't going to come into the ring and face me because he's not a man. You know, admittedly, I don't really watch wrestling that much anymore just because, well, ever since it went to the cable networks and it hasn't been on the local channels, I haven't really gotten a chance to see it that much. But, CM Punk, I'm going to be honest with you, when you had your whole straight edge society thing going on or whatever, I honestly thought you were kind of a douche yourself, but, dang, nice. And if you could get that match to happen, even though I don't really know how that would happen because you're already scheduled to have a match with Jericho at WrestleMania. So, again, if you can get this to work, awesome. I might have to buy WrestleMania in that case, but, wow. Thanks, man. You've basically said what's been on everybody's mind for a long time about that douchebag Chris Brown. So, kudos to you. Kind of showing my inner redneck right now, I guess. So here's my question to you guys. You can either choose this question or you can choose the other question. First one is, what do you think about the Xbox and Microsoft basically announcing this whole thing about how, oh, well, gaming's not the top priority anymore or anything else along those lines? Or, what do you think about CM Punk calling out Chris Brown? And would you want to see that match? Leave your comments down there. Let me know if you like this video. Thanks again for watching my video, guys. I'll hopefully see you next week. Depends on if there's good news to report and everything else like that. So, alright. I'll see you guys next week. Maybe. CM Punk, who is a wrestler for the WWE, has actually gone on a Twitter war. Twitter? Did I say Twitter? It all started over the weekend when CM Punk went onto his Twitter account. Twitter!